Hi guys! Today I'm going to read chapter 6 of Jasmine Toguchi, Mochi Queen. And this chapter is called Mean Cousin Eddie. Mean Cousin Eddie. Dad and Uncle Jimmy unfolded 2 long tables in the backyard. That was where the woman would roll mochi tomorrow. Mom, Oba-chan, and Auntie Lori covered the tables with a green plastic tablecloth. Sophie taped it down. I watched from the window in the kitchen. The sky was blue and cloudless, and the sun was shining, but I didn't feel very sunshiny. Well, if it isn't Jasmine T, who smells like pee. I hunched my shoulders and leaned my chin on my hand. Mean Cousin Eddie's voice sounded like yowling cats. Dad is a professor of history at a college. He teaches about things that have already happened. He says that sometimes history repeats itself. Eddie and I have a repeating history. Every time we get together, he teases me and I get upset. 3 years ago, he fell off the couch while he was jumping on it. Maybe he bumped his head super hard because after that, he got mean. Sophie thought it was because we saw him cry. Everyone else is helping, but not you, Mean Cousin Eddie said. You're a weakling. 2 years ago, he couldn't help either. Here's a picture of Mean Cousin Eddie. Dad told me not to let Eddie get to me. He always told me to count to 10 before talking with Eddie. So I counted to 20. What? You can't even turn around? Are you so dumb you can't make conversation? The kitchen table scraped against the floor as Eddie bumped into it. I kept staring out the window. I counted to 25. You're so lame. I counted to 30. Finally, Eddie gave up and pushed open the back door. A cool breeze drifted in. It smelled like dried leaves. Outside, Dad and Uncle Jimmy carried the usu from the garage. I sat on my tiptoes to get a better look at the stone bowl that they used to turn cooked rice into mochi. It took 2 grown men to carry the bowl into the yard. Mean Cousin Eddie walked behind them, the wooden hammer on his shoulder, like he was some superstar. Here's some pictures. And then, I'm having some thinking right now because when my family makes mochi, we don't use this bowl right here. We just use a machine, so ours looks a little bit different than this. When he bent to put it down, he wobbled like he was about to fall over. I smiled as he struggled. Then I realized that Eddie, who was 11 years old, had trouble lifting the hammer. Maybe hanging down from a tree branch wasn't good enough. Maybe I should make sure I could pick up the hammer. I waited until after dinner when everyone was busy watching TV and talking. Sophie was on the phone with her best friend, Maya Fung. Eddie was playing a computer game. I slowly opened the back door, stopping just before the hinges made their tattletale squeak. I squeezed outside and pulled the door shut behind me with a soft click. The pavement felt cold against my bare feet. I had left my shoes behind so I could stay quiet. Keeping the porch light off so nobody would see me, I took tiny steps into the dark. I put my hands on the mochi table and followed it around to the edge of the yard. There, the usu and hammer were covered with a tarp. I could just barely see them, looking like a creature standing guard. I shivered and glanced back at the house. All quiet. When I made it to the usu, I slid the tarp off. The mochi hammer shimmered under the stars. I reached over and put my hands around the wooden handle. It felt smooth from all the years of my family's hands gripping it. My heart pounded in my throat. I took big gulping breaths of the cool air. This was it. If I could pick up the hammer, it meant I was strong enough to pound mochi. Just as I was about to try lifting it, an all too familiar, too horrible voice sounded from the darkness behind me. Hey, what do you think you're doing? You're not allowed to touch that. Eddie grabbed the other end of the hammer. We tugged back and forth. I gripped it tightly, refusing to let go. This was a test. If I could just hold on. But Eddie was bigger than me. He yanked the hammer out of my hands and I fell backward. The damp grass soaked into my shorts. Mean Cousin Eddie's teeth glowed in the moonlight as he smiled evilly. "You're so weak," he said. "I'm not. I can hang from a tree branch." "So what? Anyone can do that. It doesn't mean anything." I ran my hand along my arm, feeling for a muscle. Nothing. "Don't touch this again," he said. "You're a girl. You'll give it bad luck." I sucked on my bottom lip. If anything, he would give it bad luck with all his meanness. He stood there staring down at me, trying to scare me. When I didn't budge, he shrugged. I hoped he would leave the hammer, but he took it into the house. Walnuts! Now what was I going to do? All right, friends. So last time, when we had done a sneak peek for this chapter, we had known the title and we're thinking a little bit about, or at least I was thinking a little bit about what actions Cousin Eddie would have that would either prove or disprove that he was mean. So if you guys have any ideas of examples of Cousin Eddie either being mean or maybe not being mean, I would love to hear them, and you could just share it in our thinking document and give us a little evidence to show and prove whether Eddie is or isn't mean. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Bye.